Hey, it's To The Point with Mike, Leo, and Vince.
Here. Welcome back, guys.
What's going on, guys?
It's weird coming in without pushing that button. Having software.
It is, right?
Anyways, how's it going? What's the date?
Today is actually
The
November 1st.
November 1st.
Alrighty, guys. Hey, think about it. Just a few weeks ago, we were just saying, hey, it's already October. And now look, we got 1 month left, and this year is over.
Y'all start Christmas shopping yet?
No. Who decided that there was going to be 12 days in the year?
12 months, you mean,
Yeah,
Leo?
12 months in the year. Why not 13? Why not 14?
It's
So we
all
decided a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it's biblical type stuff. I don't know.
Who decided this is what the word is going to be and this is what it's going to sound like?
And this is what it's going to mean.
Anyways, guys, don't forget to give us a like, a follow, a share.
Where?
On X, where Mike is shooting for X. Mike likes X. You know, so just
not
X.
the drug. Yeah.
No, not the drug.
Yeah.
Like X, Twitter.
Well, there's so much
or
more.
X, also known or used to be known as Twitter. Now it's X.
Yeah.
So give us a follow on X, man. Mike is going full force on X. He's taking us to the next level. You know, on
Well,
X.
you get more exposure on that platform, and you're exposed to a lot more.
Do you guys know why they call it X?
Well, he's got some kind of master plan.
Because he was tired of getting X of all these other places,
Yeah.
so he probably said, "I'm gonna name my shit X."
Well,
I know he's
almost
supposed to
all of
tie
his
X.
companies. All of his companies are tied to
Right.
this X, and it's tied to this one app he wants to
Who
bring
runs
it
it?
to.
Who is it?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what
like the
had heard.
guy,
He's tying
but
it
he's
all his
he's
businesses to it.
mastermind billionaire. Like they are who they are.
But like, how did he get to be like that though? Like, why was he selected to be just that one person?
Well, I don't think he
You're not
necessarily
gonna tell-
was. I think
Okay.
he made the right decisions.
Okay, but
You
you're
got
not.
Ballsy decisions that got him where he
Right
was.
decisions, right place, right time.
Okay,
I don't
Things
think
just
he would
worked
have been
out.
selected.
Okay, but you're gonna tell me that
White
just
South African.
just he is the creator of everything. Maybe he just approves it, but I mean, I'm sure there's people underneath of him
Oh,
that is like doing the actual fucking work.
Well, his thing with Twitter is, he just did a podcast with Joe Rogan and on Halloween, and Joe asked him what was the really underlying reason why he bought Twitter, because it's worth
Right.
half as much now. He lost like $20 billion, I think, on it. I think he bought it for $40 billion,
And now it's worth what?
20. So Joe asked him,
so he
like,
bought it for
why-
40?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And now it's worth less
20.
than what he bought it.
half as much as, and he
Why would
lost
he-
money because he overpaid for it. But he knew he was. And Joe asked him, "Why'd you do it?" And he said, "Well, I've seen it being used to erode the culture, and the government was using it as it was pretty much a state-sponsored media, like they were filtering Republicans,
Right.
10-1 when it came to whatever your beliefs are." And I believe it too, because they have different tabs on there, and the main tab is for you, and then the other tab are people you follow. So the
Right.
for you, like, you're gonna end up seeing a lot of stuff that kind of provokes you.
Right.
Yeah, and that's where I come in. So, I get provoked and I provoke back, and
Well, they're not throttling anybody down
Yeah.
like they do on some of the other platforms.
yeah, well, yeah, and it's definitely a lot better. And what he's doing with it, and they're cleaning up the code behind it, which sounds super technical, but was a mess. And that's how he's finding all these backdoor data channels that they were using to give the government access to user profiles and stuff like that, which was locations and stuff like that. All super stuff you wouldn't expect a social media organization to do. And what he did was uncover that all of them do it.
Right.
All of them have been doing the same thing anyways.
So the question now is what replaced Twitter? Because the government's not going to stop.
Right.
They're still
Well,
doing it in
not
other
gonna
ways.
stop either, because he's working on the Neuralink. And the Neuralink is supposed to be like a miracle chip that you implant in your head and you can walk again or something like that. And so that's kind of scary too. And if you tie all that together in AI, what better tool to teach AI than the world's biggest social gathering, which is Twitter?
Yeah.
It's crazy, and but I mean, there's a lot of different opinions too, especially when you get into the Middle East conflict right now. You know, a lot of people you wouldn't normally side with politically are completely in line with what you or me as a, you know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of war, but I believe it's retaliation is in call if it's needed. But I'm not for killing civilians. You know,
Right.
war today isn't like it was 100 years ago or 200 years ago.
So I actually came across
Well,
somebody sent me a video of, and who knows if it's from this war or it could be an old video from something else, but supposedly it was like a children's hospital and they were rushing in, like some of them like 5, 8 years old, 10 years old. And they were all, there was like a group of probably like 6 to 8 of them, and they were all blown up by a bomb. They were in bad shape,
Yeah.
but they were still, trying to help them out. And it was just crazy to think, that's where war's gone with that kind of war. I mean, they don't care. They're going to kill everybody if that's what it takes. They're not worried about the civilians.
Yeah, at this point, I think they're just using the civilians as their shields, I figure they could hide behind the civilians.
Well, I mean,
like anybody else nowadays hides behind a screen.
all right. Well, here's the problem over there. When you look at where these people are now, I'm not for terrorist scumbags who kill civilians at all,
Right.
or behead people, rape women that claim it they're doing it
Right.
in the name of their god. But you've got, like, I don't know, there was numbers like a mass amount of people that live in like 26 square miles, and it's pretty freaking scary because Hamas alone has got 30 to 40,000 dedicated soldiers.
Right.
I mean, that could be changing as the day goes by, but Israel's got like 450,000. So, but the conflict over there, they say all these people that live in the Gaza Strip are literally in a concentration camp.
Right.
There's only 6 entrances in and out. Their electricity's controlled, their water's controlled, their food's controlled, and now all that's like gone to hell. Like, they don't have internet at most times, and you can't really
I heard
think
they're
that's
cutting
a good idea. But
I heard they're cutting their water off too.
yeah, they've already controlled
They're
the water. But
starving
the
them
problem
out
is the Hamas, they'll take the water pipes. They'll break the water pipes, and that's what they're using for these rockets. The ones they're not getting from Iran. I don't know how far we can go into that on, all these platforms, but that's what they say. Iran
maybe
is
we can
giving
go
them quite a few.
We can probably go a little further on that on just when we're on just X or Rumble.
Yeah, our Twitter feed ain't working, but I'll upload it later. We should be on everything else, but yeah, so it's pretty freaking scary, and it's almost like they want us to go to war with Iran, and we've got bases all around them, and we want to know why they're so hostile to us. And then it came out today or yesterday that we have a secret base in southern Israel right outside of Gaza Strip. And we've had troops there for a while that we didn't know about.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
Mike, what were we texting earlier that we said we were going to talk about?
I'm not sure, but a World War III scenario with Iran wouldn't be.
Was that what it was?
I don't know, because
Can't remember what it was.
if you look at a map like this, you can see Iran's in the middle. Let me get rid of this mode here so you can see the big thing. You can't really see the borders, but this big chunk in the middle is all Iran. We've already conquered Iraq and Afghanistan. Whether you think we got our ass kicked leaving Afghanistan, I mean, that's obvious. But Iran is so much bigger, so much more organized, and so much more modern than we think. They're not just, tribal Asians like in Afghanistan, or Arabs in Iraq. These are Persians, and they've been very organized for a long time. So war with Iran, and then that brings in Russia, and Turkey's already threatened. Turkey's up here, who's got the strongest military in the Middle East. They're a member of NATO, but they've already threatened to go to war with Israel. They say it's some militia in Turkey that's done it, not actually Turkey, but Turkey is what's the remnants of the Ottoman Empire. And that's they say the president of Turkey, I don't know how you say his name, but they say that's his ultimate goal. You know, all these like Middle East leaders that even Putin and Ching Pong or whatever his name is, that's their goal, it seems like, is to recolonize their empire. And we're blamed for it because we're always involved. So what do you think? Do you think we should have any involvement at all?
I mean, it's worked for us for a long time, but I don't know. I mean, at some point, especially when I feel like, you know, our country's weakened right now under the current regime with the way things are running, I don't feel like we don't have the strong hand that we normally have. I mean, we still have the biggest military, but what if you know, you could have the biggest military, but if you got a clown running things,
yeah,
they're not making the right decisions.
That's pretty freaking scary because
So
we got two carrier
scary
groups
right now.
We got two carrier groups out there, and then you hear reports about what these civilians are living through in Gaza Strip and what they had to live through before this October 7th. Now, I'm not defending terrorists, and frankly, I think if there's that many people, there's like one of the most densely populated parts of the world is in Gaza Strip. I had it written down somewhere. Their actual population, not just like Hamas, but it's one of the most densely populated areas over there, and a lot of them are civilians. A lot of them are also young. There's not very many old people, and a lot of that age group is fighting age or younger children. So every time there is a bomb that goes off on a Hamas target, it's going to be in a neighborhood because they don't have anything else. It's like living in a project. Some have compared it to the Indian reservations. You know, how they say we treated the people that were supposedly native here before us. And then that's the fight over there. Who does this land belong to? Does it belong to the Jews? Does it belong to the Muslims? You know, there was a whole timeline of it was, and it was never a Palestinian state.
It was awarded.
That argument.
It was awarded to the Jews, but obviously,
well, there's been a mess over there because there's always been intervention. So there was some like Balfour Agreement where Britain promised it to two different groups, and like the Palestinians, and they promised it to the Jews or somebody. And then they backed out of one or the other and created strife there. And then after World War II is when they created the State of Israel, which was in 1948.
And it was awarded to the Jews.
Yeah, it was, they established Israel. And I mean, if you go back, there is traces of a Jewish state in this exact area since before biblical times. You know, so it's kind of hard. The Palestinians supposedly are derived from the Philistines, which were known as the Sea People, which means they came from the Mediterranean, from what I was learning, I think it was like Crete or something like that, like Greece, or I'm not even sure, but there's a lot of history over there. So it's like, if this happened 200 years ago, or let's say 100 years ago, it'd be what, 1923, right? What do you think you would know about it today?
Know about what?
If we weren't in a world war in 1923, what do you think? Like, do you think this would be a question? I don't think we'd even be hearing about civilians dying in Gaza Strip. I think Israel would have taken them out already. And I think with today's modern
social media
propaganda, I mean, it's no doubt Israel's way more powerful. They can wipe out Gaza Strip altogether, and they're being provoked to do that anyways. But there's conspiracy that they helped fund Hamas, so they would have a conflict to drive their cause for their people and the national, you know. But here you go, the China. If you go on Alibaba or any of those Chinese apps, they've already taken Israel off the map. It's not Israel.
Really?
Yeah. So and there's so much rhetoric and propaganda. You got college kids out there, protesting for a free Palestine, and they claiming what happened on the 7th was resistance. It wasn't an attack. And it's a blatant lie. That was a scumbag move, what they did. And I don't care who you are. And they weren't Palestinians, they were Hamas. Hamas had took over those people in elections in I think it was 8 or 12 years ago. And there weren't fair elections anyways. There haven't been elections since. And it was pretty much, there wasn't fair to begin with.
Right. So let me ask you a question that kind of relates to this. It just popped in my head. I haven't really heard a lot about it, but I've heard some bits and pieces. Have you heard anything about our colleges are supporting the terrorists that are behind all this? That our colleges there's many colleges right now that are in support of what's that terrorist group that's run Hamas that are supporting them. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, yeah. There's freaking politicians that have got the flag that were flying the flags, and some of them BLM and jackass were freaking organizations were posting pictures and flyers of the dudes on paragliders that were freaking. I mean, there was nothing good about that day. There was nothing about resistance, about flying into it. So now they call them occupiers. One side calls them settlers. So it's. I don't know why you would want to live in a little conclave of your own people, surrounded by people who wanted to kill you. But we talked about the Iron Dome, but this kind of negated all that, and it killed a lot of people that day, and it sparked a lot of freaking fire in the Israelis, and they're ready to take it down. But the problem is, the more involvement we have, in my opinion, the more of an instigation we are provoking World War III.
Right.
We're just asking for problems.
I can't believe that we have politicians and these big massive colleges in our countries are supporting the terrorist groups and the people that started, that provoked the attack, that did the attack. Like you were just saying 100 years ago, there's no way politicians would be supporting something like that, not even close to 100 years. I mean, that would have never happened any time in history that you would come out in support of the terrorist group.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's acceptable. I don't understand. But now it's almost like if you come out not in favor of what Israel's doing, they almost want to cancel you for that now.
Right.
So it's almost backwards in every different direction or in every different sect of society. It's everything backwards. So you might find yourself agreeing with Joe Biden's stance, sending carrier groups over there, supporting Israel, which I think we can support Israel better by not having any fucking thing to do with it.
Absolutely.
Get our freaking people out of there. Trump wanted our people out. We still have people in Syria. We still are supporting people in Syria to overthrow their president, Assad. And all that shit years ago about gassing his own people was all lies. That's what they were telling us, to be okay with sending troops over there when Obama was still in office.
See, this is why some of these...
Trump wanted them out, and they kept lying to him, and they never took all our troops out of Syria.
This is one of the... This is why we have so many terrorist groups that hate, they hate our country, because we've got our hand in everything. How would you feel if you find out that somebody's got your hand in on your country, running your country, pulling your country's strings over money? Hey, we'll give you $100 billion if you do this. And as a citizen of another country, how would you feel about that? That something that sucks for you is because America paid for it to be that way over there.
Well, you can say the same as like Russia, I think, with Ukraine. How would you feel if,
You're Russian.
let's say, Russia was building bases on the Mexican border?
Right.
Would you be like, well, at least they're not crossing the border? Or would you be like, wait a minute, what the fuck? You know, it's like Cold War all over again, except it's over there. Like
Right.
we're trying to push NATO, which we should have nothing to do with, on all these other countries, or we're supportive, which is in itself the Cold War effort, because NATO's agreement is attack on one is an attack on all.
Right.
Problem is Turkey's a member of NATO also, so I think you'll see Turkey bow out and probably jump in line with that BRICS if they're not already. I could be wrong, but Iran is pushing 960,000 active military, like full-time active military. 960,000. And then I'm sure they'll draft or make other people fight too. U.S., we've got 1.4 million. And that's without any kind of drafts or anything like that.
Right.
Which if you get into like a World War III scenario, I don't see any other way around it.
No.
Because you're going to be fighting China, you're going to be fighting Russia, and then you're going to be fighting, the Arab states in Israel.
And who knows if somebody else jumps in?
Russia's got 830,000 active troops, 150,000 drafted, 250,000 reservists. Ukraine, one number was reported at 500,000. China has got 2 million, but they're only number 3 in strength. Taiwan, which they're going to be probably consumed by China in this war, with reservists, they've got 2.3 million, but active duty is 200,000. Israel, I said earlier, is 450,000. Hezbollah, which is pretty much the controlling party, I think, in Lebanon or the West Bank, they've got 150,000. That's who's directly supporting Hamas, is Hezbollah, and who's supporting Hezbollah is Iran. So, and then we're going to support Israel, and it's just not. There's already been missiles lobbed over from areas in Turkey and Lebanon. And that whole area of the Middle East, if the map had better, darker borders, it would be better to show. But it's pretty freaking, it's like, do you just let them hash it out? Like, but everything is different now. You get live information, if it's not knocked out. But do you just, like, I don't think we should have any involvement. I don't think we should have any involvement in Ukraine either.
I don't either. And, I know one of the arguments is we're trying to keep anybody else from surging as being a major power that could be against us down the road. But I really don't think either one of these wars would cause that. Like, I don't think Russia taking over Ukraine makes them that much bigger of a threat. Right. I don't think that makes them that much bigger of a threat to us. And same thing with the other war going on in the Middle East. I don't think that's going to make anybody somebody that we really have to worry about. What we do have to worry about is putting our hands in all these different things going on, and then them all attacking us at once. That's what we got to worry about.
I got something to say. Y'all might hate me. Y'all might. I don't care. Like look at my eye. Does it look like I care? No, I don't. Okay.
Give them the stank eye.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, this is why we have this podcast. So that I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. I think us as Americans, we're very shady. This is why we have, just because I just think we're, like, very shady. Like, we could promise anybody, any country, that we're going to do, that we're going to do anything and everything for them to bring them back. Or just whatever, And then at the end of the results or at the end of whatever, we always pull out. We always don't come through with what we say we were going to do.
That's what she said. We always pull out.
Yeah, we we don't come through.
Family friendly show.
Yeah, we don't come through with what we said we were going to do.
If your kid got that, they got it from somewhere else.
Yeah. Not from us.
No, but I know what you're saying.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, that's just... like I think we just need to keep our hands out of.
I believe so.
You know,
I don't think we should have anything to do with it. I think we're more powerful.
We got more problems here
with the threat, but I think we're more of a threat.
Yeah, man, just get out of the way,
sitting
man.
back. I don't think we
But
should.
you
have
know what?
anything to do
Everybody
with it.
we're just being used right now, Mike. People are just creating. I'm not saying they're creating wars. I understand there's
this?
problem going there's a problem going in between them right now, but let's just stay out of it. You know, let's just stay out of it.
I mean, I get to a certain point, like if you've got a somebody that you're a strong ally with,
right?
You know, it's kind of known if you attack my ally, then you deal with me too. You know,
right?
I get stuff like that, but you know, I don't think that really applies here.
Yeah, like we just need to stay out of it, and we just need to like, you know, like not mind our own business, but like these people are just looking for a handout. That's what they're doing. You know, like I'm not saying this is what they're doing, but like how many countries have come to us already and say, hey, can we have billions of dollars for a rescue? Can we have billions of dollars for money for the rescue?
We send them the money regardless, but
okay, Vince, but why? That's my money though.
War is big business.
Okay, I got other people here.
You don't think we make money, America, off these wars?
Not this, but not this. And then every people
time,
they have in office right now.
And then every time we send
money away,
every time we send $2.3 trillion to another country, how much of that's going in dirty politicians' pockets?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know.
Well, me and Vince were talking about this earlier. So if you go over,
oh yeah, you're gonna pull up the.
I got it right here.
The national debt tracker. Thing's pretty cool.
We're on here too. I got it right here.
The national debt tracker.
Right now we're at like.
Thing's pretty cool.
It's ridiculous, and you can watch it live if you go to usdebtclock.org. It's ridiculous, and you can watch it live. Website go to US gives you kind of clock.org, and it's debt per tax put like gives you 9,000. How much you owe for the tax like because this is our debt. It's not our government. That's our debt. And then it'll show you the revenue, like how much they're making off our taxes.
It's showing money coming in, money going out. It's pretty neat to
like how much they're making.
See it. You know, it's showing money coming in.
It don't down to the average.
See it. It's showing
because we're America.
So let me ask you. So we get a loan. Do you buy the national debt?
Or how does that work? To be honest with you,
do you buy that we
maybe something.
Do you buy? I don't buy that. So that's what we would already be in war if we owed all these fucking countries this kind of money. So we owe them all this money, but yet we just give it to them for free. Right? Here's trade. So we just owe them all this money, but yet we just give it to them for free. We just here's trade. So we just owe them all this money, but yet we just give it to them for free. We just owe them all this money. So we just owe them all this money, but yet we give it to them for free. So let me ask you this. So what happens when you lose out? Let me ask you this. What happens when you spend taxes? You gave that dollar to me. Now I pay tax on it because I earned it. Now I'm going to give it to Mike. I got to pay tax on it again. Now Mike's going to have to pay tax on it twice. How many times does $1 go through circulation in a year?
That's why it's not going to be valued at anything.
They're making thousands of dollars a year off every dollar in circulation.
Here's my biggest thing. But I
Bullshit.
think the biggest
no national debt.
The biggest crime.
I agree.
The biggest crime for us, I believe, is the income tax. And right here, if that number's right, it says the revenue is $2 trillion in income tax revenue. So that, like Vince was saying, that income tax, they're taxing you on the money you make from working. Then they're going to tax you for everything you buy with it.
Oh yeah.
And everything like if you invest it in whatever, they tax you every time after that.
That doesn't just happen once to that dollar. It probably happens thousands of times a year to that single dollar.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the income tax is like $2 trillion. Payroll tax revenue
I was telling
is
Mike
$1 trillion.
I was telling Mike the
don't know what all
other
these
day,
are.
the other day or today that they're trying to eliminate the middle class and just make an elite. Or
Oh yeah, they want the poor and the elite. Absolutely.
The destruction of the middle class,
Yeah.
and the best way to do that is divide us. That's what they're doing with all this race bait, and then like polar opposites are agreeing to on bombing Gaza or not bombing Gaza, or if it was justified what they did. And I saw a clip, and whether you believe it's right or not, but I saw a clip shared on, I think it was YouTube. It was a movie.
Fucked up.
Oh shit! It was a clip out of
You're
a
right,
movie. I think it was Wounded. Bury my heart at Wounded Knee or something like that.
I missed my lip.
Got a hole in your lip.
Caught your beard.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Save it for later. But it was a clip out of like Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee or something like that. I don't know. And it was fake, but it was the general was explaining to the Indian that you were conquered. You didn't. This land wasn't like we conquered you. And don't act like you were innocent because you were conquering your other people to get to where you are. You weren't native here. You come from the hills also. And he's like, no matter what you want to believe in your legend, he's like, you didn't sprout from the earth either. You came from somewhere else also. So that goes down to the conflict everywhere when there comes colonization.
Indian tribes, like you said,
native?
they would fight
Who
to
does
take
it
over an
belong
area.
to? Right.
Yeah.
Tribes fought each other to take over an area. We had better weapons.
Yeah. You know what I've always been curious, and it's fixing to happen this weekend, Vince. I've always had questions about it, and it just I don't know. Since we have this podcast, I figured maybe somebody could answer this question for me because I've always had curious. Like, how they're about to change the time. This weekend, right?
Daylight savings that they've talked about doing away with for a decade now or more.
Right. Like, why do we have it? Like, I understand. Like, I think I understand why we had it at one point. What was it like for farming or something like that, maybe, or agriculture or something?
I mean,
like
I've heard. I don't know how true it is. I've heard a lot of times that the reason they do it is for kids.